I'm Mark Francesconi, Superintendent of Schools for LaPorte Community Schools. We're really pleased to have the turnout that we had tonight. It's exciting for us. I know we've all been looking forward to these next steps as we get closer to having our new configuration next year of pre-K4 in all of our what are current elementary schools. And then of course our 5-6 Kessling Intermediate School, and then our 7-8 LaPorte Middle School. As we go throughout the evening, you'll have some time at the end to walk around and get a little bit of an idea of how the landscape is going to be with all the construction that's going on. But essentially, the older side, the Kessling side, that's currently Kessling Middle School, is predominantly going to be 5-6 grade. So that's the intermediate side. And then the new construction is pretty much going to be the 7-8 side of the building, with exception to some shared areas like the cafeteria. You'll get a chance to see that, the media center, and so on and so forth. So we're working on the program. We've been working on programming since the beginning of our feasibility study. So the thing that we're most excited about is not the building, not the structure, but what we've been talking about for 3 or 4 years regarding the courses that we wanted to, and the experiences that we wanted our middle level students to have to prepare them for college and careers. And so what we're going to have tonight is a lot of the talk and presentation from some of the people in what we'll call elective areas. We call that in secondary education. In other words, choices. Electives are choices. These are choices that we're offering, we're excited about, that are reflecting technology, that are reflecting careers, things of which currently, because of a number of reasons, including building limitations, we haven't been able to offer at the middle level. So traditionally you have art, music, PE, so on and so forth. Now we're talking about a lot more choices, and you can actually have electives at the 7th and 8th grade, where you would have a totally different schedule than someone else based on your interests. So we're really excited about all those opportunities that are going to be here, and all those opportunities that are going to be provided are directly going to be linked to our high school career or courses and career pathways, and so we're really excited about that as well. So again, excited for all of you to be here tonight. And afterwards, the presentation regarding our course offerings, we're encouraging you to take a walk around and get a feel for how the layout's going to be for the new complex. I know that we were a little short on parking tonight, but just so that you know, once we get through this next phase of construction, there'll be a couple more lots, including the whole west side of the building, that'll be open for parking. So you're not going to be inconvenienced like you were tonight to have to try to drive around and find a spot, and I know that's why some people are still coming in. So with that, again, thank you for being here. We're excited that you're here tonight to be a part of your child's education. Turn it over right now to Deb Carter, Principal of Boston Middle School.
Good evening. I'm really, really excited that the auditorium is full. Maybe something worked in our advertising, and that's very exciting. Thank you so much for being here. Thrilled to have you here. We have a lot of folks that are going to present tonight about the new electives and the new classes, and I wanted to start by sharing just a little bit something with you about how we got to some of these decisions. The program of studies is actually, what we're here to talk about tonight, is actually going to be uploaded tomorrow on our website and on our Facebook. And I didn't want to kill all the trees to print it, so I'm going to have it up so you guys can see it. We will do some copies later on, but we're still doing some changes and making it a little more fluid. So I wanted to let you know that. However, the information that you most need right now is in the handouts outside on the table when you came in. So if you didn't get them, you can choose to pick some up on the way out, and that'll really help you talk to your students, we hope, about the program of studies and the choices they have. So we'd like them to be as excited. When the counselors went in and talked to all the kids at both Boston and Kessling, the kids are super excited, which really made us happy because it's making this process very much worth it. So the reason we went about all this stuff was quite a bit of, there's a lot of different reasons, but what I want to start with is to talk to you a little bit about the career pathways, and I'm not going to share a lot with you about this, and it's something that's going to matter more to you when your student becomes an 8th grader going into their freshman year. But the career pathways is a new way for students to move into high school and get different types of diplomas. And one of the things that we're doing, the reason we are doing some of this configuration is to make a seamless approach from 4th grade to 5th grade, from 5th grade to 6th grade, 6th grade to 7th, 7th to 8th, and 8th to 9th. And to have students be very aware of some of their choices in careers and college readiness, and to be able to understand all the things that we have to offer to get these kids ready for this big choice in their future. And so our vision was to try to have these seamless transitions with lots of choices that they could try early to make them have some ideas so that when they go to the high school and start thinking about which way they want to go, what pathway they might want to take, that they would have some idea about that and have had some experiences. And outside on one of the handouts is called the Indiana College and Career Pathways. That will show you what pathways the high school currently offers, and some of our classes link directly to those classes, as you will find out later as these teachers present their particular areas of electives. So we're really excited to have all these extra choices, and this is the first time ever the kids have gotten to make these choices. So as we've been talking to the current 6th and 7th graders, incoming 7th and 8th graders, they've been really excited about this. So I'm really excited about having the parents help them make these choices, because of course one of my fears is that everybody will take one class because they're best friends in that class instead of because they're really interested and that's what they want. So I'm so happy to see all the parents here to help us make these great choices for these kids and help guide them as they make those choices. So thank you again for being here. One of the things I want to say is I want to introduce you to Mario Rosa, and he's over here in the corner. He is here to help any parents that may speak Spanish and need some questions answered at the end. He'll be up here and be able to answer questions, and I'm going to let him say that so that everybody is aware.
Buenas noches. Quiero que sepan que esta noche, si ustedes que no hablan en inglés o no entienden todo lo que están hablando en esta noche, después de la junta, búscame a mí y yo platico con ustedes. La noche va a ser no solamente saber lo que está pasando en los edificios, pero también van a platicar sobre los pasos y las opciones que nuestros hijos tienen para el futuro. Otra vez, me busquen en la fin de la junta.
So again, if anyone has questions at the end, we'll be around to answer them. Hopefully you'll get a lot of your questions answered this evening with all the presentations. I know you're not all here to hear me speak, so I'd like to get started with talking first about the schedule options that we have. And we're going to have Mrs. Linning and Mrs. Dexter come up, and they're counselors here at both Kessling and Boston, and they're going to share ideas of sample schedules.
Hi, I'm Susie Lennig, and I'm a counselor at Boston Middle School. I'm pretty happy to see a lot of the students here today. I tell them that it's very easy to talk in front of them and not so easy to talk in front of all of you adults. So it's nice to see them here today also with you. We did go into the classrooms, into the 6th and the 7th grade classrooms to talk to the kids about the different kinds of schedules that they will be able to take next year. I'm going to talk about the 7th grade, and Mrs. Dexter is going to talk about the 8th grade. But the first thing that we did when we went in there was we asked them to look at the sample schedule and asked what the difference was that they saw right offhand. And all the students that are here know the first thing that they said was, "Oh my gosh, there are 8 hours." That's the first thing they said. So, and I heard some groans. But once we started talking about it, they were actually pretty excited, because the addition of the 8th hour, as you're going to hear later on, will provide them with a lot of different neat things that they can do that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise if we had only 7 hours. So once we got through that, they were pretty happy. I would like to go through there's 3 different kind of schedules that we're going to go through today. And the first one, as you notice at the top, is for students that are below state expectations. What that means is that we look at the data that the students provide us, whether it's ISTEP or NWEA, the NWEA that you've heard your kids probably talk about that they've taken during school. I learn some AR, that kind of things, to see what their levels are in math and reading and language. If they are below state expectations, they fit into this category. It's kind of a neat thing because they will be able to have a reading and a language arts class, which will differ from the other ones that we'll show you, but they'll have a reading and a language arts class, a math class, science social studies like everybody else, but they'll have a required lab class. What we told the kids and what we're telling you is that's a good thing. I know a lot of times students aren't happy about having a lab or some extra kind of class where they get help. But this is a class that's going to be taught by all the different teachers. They'll have extra time to catch up on their math and their language and bring them up to state expectations. So it's really actually a good thing. And I told them a story of, I have a daughter who's actually in high school, and she is struggling with math right now. She probably would kill me if she knew I said that. But she is, and she comes home at nighttime, and it's hard. With this lab class, the kids that are struggling will have this extra time during school where they won't come home and struggle as much as my daughter does. So I think it's going to be a really neat thing. The students that are in this category will have an opportunity to take 3 different electives. And again, electives are kind of what we have for allied arts right now, but there are things that they get to choose. So it won't only be art and what else do we have? Facts and those kinds of things. There's a lot of really neat things that you'll hear about tonight. So they'll have 3 choices that they get to make in this category. And they'll also, all 7th grade will take 1 semester of PE and health. That's a mandatory thing that they'll be doing. The next slide we'll be looking at. The next slide that we'll be looking at are the students who meet state expectations. And again, this is based on the data that they have showed us throughout the school year and the years before on the way of testing and ISTEP and that kind of thing, grades, all of that. In this category, the students will have a combined, here's the big difference, a combined reading and language arts class. So they won't have a separate reading class and a language arts class, it'll be combined, so they'll be working on those things together as a whole. What that also does is opens up a space for an elective, an extra elective, which is kind of neat. So they will have 7 electives that they will get to choose from. They will still have to take the semester of PE and wellness. Classes like band and orchestra and choir, and we have a lot of kids that take those. Those are year-long classes, so those kind of, if they're going to do that, that limits some of their electives, since it's a year-long, would take up 2 elective spots. But these kids will have 7 electives to choose from. And then the final schedule that we have are for 7th grade students who are above state expectations. These are our kids who score highly on WIA and ISTEP and iLearn and grades, that kind of thing. It's very similar to the other one where they will have a combined learning, or a combined, language and reading class. And they will also have 7 electives that they will get to choose from. So that's for 7th grade.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Dexter. I'm the counselor here at Kessie Middle School. I'm going to go over the 8th grade scheduling. What we have is very similar to 7th grade, based where students are testing, and the data that we collect will determine where students are placed. So the same requirements with 7th grade, only the difference for students below state expectations is preparing for college and careers. This class will be required for all the 8th graders. It is a high school credit course. So with their passing grade, they will be receiving a high school credit for that course. So with the students below state expectations, they will be getting that required lab in reading, language arts, and/or math. And again, it's to give those students extra help, kind of like a tutoring session or getting them back onto level. And then they get their choice of an elective for each semester. And we have a whole new range of electives, which we'll be talking about later on. Who's clicking? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Students meeting state expectations. So here they have the room for the extra elective because they will have combined reading and language arts. They will not have that math lab or math, language arts, English lab. They will have the required core classes, and then they have all those extra room for 6 electives. Again, this will be determined on where they will be testing and getting that data on where they're going to be placed for those courses. The students above state expectations, they again have that combined reading and language arts. They do not have that lab. And then they have the 6 electives, similar to the students meeting the state expectations. And again, all those students will have the opportunity to earn high school credits with the required prep for college and careers, which will be added into their schedule. And then we'll be going into the electives that we will be offering, which are fabulous.
One more thing that I wanted to say before we turn this over to the next person. What we've been telling the kids, and we truly believe this, is that we're kind of in the same boat that they are. Everybody's nervous, but we are going to have a great time at this new school. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to work together. I see a lot of my kids in here smiling. We're going to work together. The 4 counselors, Ms. Pesmeg and Mrs. Ridlarczyk and Mrs. Dexter and I know that there's going to be some anxiety, and we will be working hard with the kids along with the teachers to help ease some of that. So we really do think it's going to be a great time, and we are really looking forward to meeting all the kids that we don't know, and those that we do will work together.
Hi everybody, I am Mrs. Tucholsky, Becca Tucholsky, and I currently work at the high school in the Nutrition and Wellness course, and I'm going to be here teaching the agriculture courses next year. I will be teaching the Introduction to Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources, which is the 8th grade course, and we'll also be offering a 7th grade course as well, which will be kind of an intro to the intro course. Looking at some exploratory agriculture things. So with this course, with the 8th grade course specifically, we'll be looking at a whole lot of different things. Animal science, plant and soil science, food science, horticultural science, business management, natural resources, a whole host of things. So what this means for you guys is you get to do a lot of cool hands-on stuff. One day we might be looking at animals and hosting a petting zoo like we did today at the high school for National FFA Week. Another day we might be going out on a nature walk and collecting leaves and identifying different trees. We might tap a tree and make our own maple syrup. We might learn how to weld with virtual welding machines. So it's a class with a whole lot of opportunities, and this is such a cool course because it's brand new. This has never been offered at the middle school level before, so I'm really excited to introduce this course to you, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We are currently in the process of applying for a grant with the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte for a greenhouse at our middle school, and that's going to be a really cool opportunity for the kids just to be able to go out and work in that and plant our own plants and, you know, actually eat the produce from those plants. And then the Farm to School program, this is a really cool opportunity for our entire district as a whole. There's kind of 3 key components to that. So one part is having agriculture and nutrition and food education in the schools. Another part is getting local food into the school cafeterias, so we have healthy foods available for children to eat. And then The third part is doing some sort of greenhouse or garden education with the students. So again, that hands-on learning experience. So we're really looking forward to that.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Bockhorst, and I'm here to talk to you about the foreign languages that we're going to offer next year. So we're really excited because next year 7th and 8th graders will be able to take Spanish, and that is a very nice thing because the younger that you are when you start to learn a language, the better that you actually learn the language. And so for 7th graders to be able to take it, for 8th graders to be able to take it, it's really a great advancement in the program that we have here at the middle school. Our 7th graders will be able to take the first half of Spanish 1 during their 7th grade year as an elective. They will take the second half of Spanish 1 during their 8th grade year. It is a 2-year course for the 7th graders for this year, and if they complete it successfully, then they will be able to receive high school credit. Our 8th graders will actually have the opportunity to get the high school credit in just 1 year. It will be a more accelerated course for this year as we are making our transition because students will not have that opportunity to take it in 7th grade because they're already in 8th grade. So for those students, it will be like they're taking it at the high school level. They're taking the full year of Spanish 1 during their 8th grade year. I will be their teacher. It is a very fun class. I love what I do. I love working with my students. They learn a lot. And the younger you are, the more you know it, the easier it comes to you. So we will do fun, interactive things, but it is an academic course, so students will have to study outside of the class if they want to be successful. They're going to learn study skills that they can apply to their other core academic classes. They're going to learn critical thinking skills that they can apply to their future tests that they take, such as standardized tests, SAT, PSAT. They're going to learn root words and things of that nature. They learn a lot of grammar in Spanish. This is a class that our Spanish speakers can take, but we're going to be learning the basics of Spanish. So expect to learn things that you already know if you're a native Spanish speaker. Other than that, we're going to learn about culture. We're going to learn about how to interact with each other in the foreign language. And really, it's just going to be a great opportunity for our students. So thank you very much.
Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Ortiz. I teach art at Boston Middle School.
I'm Charity Oliver. I teach art here at Kesling Middle School. We're going to start with 7th grade. So in 7th grade, they're going to have 2 options for your students, 2D art and 3D art. And the 2D art is going to follow into 2 choices in 8th grade, which I'll let her talk about. And the 3D is going to lead into 2 choices in the 8th grade. Awesome.
So 8th grade art gets a little bit more specific. They get to kind of hone in on the skills that they're really good at or that they favor. So 4 options for 8th grade are mixed media art, which is a variety of combining different types of materials. So for example, like painting, collage, maybe wire, jewelry. Painting would be the next option. So focus on maybe color theory, different painting techniques. Digital design, that would be more of like a drawing, photography, graphic design class, so where the kids can use up-to-date technology in the art world, like drawing tablets, using scanners to make art, and of course photography, like digital photography apps, using the cloud to access their photos and using hopefully some software like Photoshop and kind of getting familiar again with what today's professionals use. And then finally, their option will be sculpture and ceramics, little hand building techniques. So like the little picture up there, wheel going. Yes, and they'll have an opportunity to use the wheel, which kids love that. So as far as prereqs go, the plan is that if they take 2D in 7th grade, that will lead directly into mixed media and painting. And then if they take 3D in 7th grade, that would lead into, wait, I messed that up. Okay, 2D would be painting and digital design, and then 3D would be sculpture and mixed media. I was kind of hoping they'd be grouped together, but so that would be the prereqs for those classes. So kind of take one, gives you 2 options, take the other, gives you 2 options. So that's the plan for art for 7th and 8th grade. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Nowak. I currently teach Family Consumer Science at Boston Middle School. I've been there teaching that class for about 20 years now. The 7th grade Family Consumer Science options, or for those of you who haven't heard of Family Consumer Science, use in that term, home ec is what it used to be called. In the 7th grade level, we're planning on interpersonal relationships, which involves things like getting along with others, learning manners, avoiding bullying, what to do when you're making healthy choices. We'll have guest speakers come in and talk to the students about relationships and how to make good choices in those relationships. Also, housing and interior design is something that we haven't done in a long time, but because it is a semester-long course instead of a 9-week course, we have the opportunity to add some extra things in there. So that could involve some type of housing, a project where they may design a room or something along those lines. And then another part of it would be the meal planning and food choices. So making things like a breakfast, lunch, dinner, talking about what influences their food choices and that sort of thing. We have 2 rooms that we'll be utilizing, and up until about a week ago, I was under the impression that we were going to have 2 rooms with kitchen units in there, and I just recently found out that one will be more of a normal classroom where we'll do things like interpersonal relationships, housing and interior design, and probably switch spots and go into the foods class and have the other classroom switched out with us as we do our meal planning food choices. So basically 9 weeks of the first 2 things and then 9 weeks in the meal planning and food choices. For 8th grade, we'll focus on child development, which will include Baby Think It Over, and it will be a required part of that course. I have offered in the past just to do a written assignment, and I found that a lot of kids that choose that either don't do it at all or don't do a very good job on it, and it's not the same experience. So if they choose to take 8th grade Family Consumer Science, they're also choosing to take a Baby Think It Over home with them. And so, you know, if you're kind of opposed to that, then this might not be the class for your child. Also, along with that, it's an abstinence-based curriculum, so that's going to be our focus. And also we'll talk about STDs and adoption and all kinds of things related to prenatal development and early childhood development as well. Financial literacy, we use a program called Bonsai, which is on the computer. It's provided to us by the Purdue Federal Credit Union. And so we'll have a guest speaker from there and learn about how to manage money and bank accounts and fraud and all those sort of things. And then the foods is going to focus more of like what I'm currently doing in 7th grade on international cuisines and cultural biases, differences when it comes to our food choices. And that will also involve working in the foods lab and making various kinds of ethnic foods. Also a little bit of food science thrown in there as well. That's it.
Hi, my name is Elaine Eggert, and I'm here to talk about Project Lead the Way. On your sheet, it's the PLTW. That's what it stands for, is Project Lead the Way. As you notice up there, there are 3 different choices for you, and they feed into the high school level. Now, I teach at the high school, and I teach all the engineering classes in our engineering and technology department. I also teach construction and AutoCAD. So, the automation and robotics, the first thing is they're going to learn what automation is and robotics. Then we move into working with everything that causes something to move, gear ratios, things of that nature. So they're changing direction, they're changing forces, things of that nature. Sounds a lot like a robot, and that's exactly what it is. From there, they move into automated systems, and that's where they use the sensors and the gear ratios and things that they learn these skills and move things along as you do with like a manufacturing line. That feeds into the engineering pathway at the high school. So that would be the introduction to engineering design, principles of engineering, civil engineering and architecture, engineering design and development, okay? So that's that pathway. Well, maybe they're not interested in that, but they like coding, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do there is we're talking about what coding is. They're gonna use block coding to do so. And in doing so, what they're going to do is they're using a microcomputer controller, and then they're going to design and develop programs in which they're going to protect safes and records. From there, what they're going to do is make a device as well as program it, and they'll have different options that they can do for this project. Well, that feeds into our computer science pathway at the high school. Maybe they don't like coding, but you're really interested in the human body. That's where your medical detectives comes in. First thing they're going to do is they're going to learn how to take vital signs and figure out how doctors figure out what's wrong with a patient. So they're going to diagnose a patient. From there, they're looking at what happens in the human body itself, as well as doing a little bit of dissection. Using those skills, they're going to go into an outbreak, which is an epidemiology type study, where they're going to find out what happened, what caused the outbreak, and what disease it is. At the high school, we have the biomedical sciences pathway through our science department, where they'll feed into that particular pathway if they so choose. So there's a lot of different options. There's overlap in some of them. For example, the coding in the automation and robots. In my principles of engineering, they not only code, but they also work with gears. So it's all the same type of skills, and they work together with their team members in order to do these things.
My name is Rob Schellinger. I teach digital citizenship here at Kessling. And next year, when we combine into one school, one of the electives will be digital citizenship. And what that class will address, first of all, the four basic functions of computing, which would be input, output, processing, and storage. And that's where it'll start with those types of topics, and we'll discuss those sorts of things in that class. We'll also get into different programs, different software, different word processing programs, spreadsheet programs, presentation programs, and those programs are key because those are things that they'll use in their other classes, in their core classes, as they complete different work or different presentations that they might have or projects that they have in their other core classes. They will use those kinds of programs on the computer, so they'll become familiar with the basics and the ins and outs to those different programs as well. Then, of course, if you think about the term digital citizenship, it's going to address being a good digital citizen online, doing things the right way with the computer, or especially in today's day and age with social media, all the different things that students are challenged with, and the risks that are out there, of course. It's going to address those types of issues that are front and center for a lot of middle school children this day and age. There also will be some things that we get into as far as coding and as far as web design that are potential possibilities in the class as well. So we're looking forward to combining it and making it a fun, interactive digital citizenship class.
Good evening. So my name is Carrie Scheck, and I am the choir director here at Kessling Middle School. And I am super pumped just to talk to you today about how we are going to be combining our music programs. This is Mr. Clipper, he's our band director here, and we are going to be joining forces with Mrs. Sullivan and with Ms. Cravens from Boston. If you were at the 7th grade and high school choir concert last night, you got a foretaste of the awesomeness that is to come by seeing our Kessling and Boston choirs up close together, performing together. They did an excellent job. It'll be great to see how they continue and feed into Mr. Koh's program at the high school. So our, basically, our performing classes are going to stay mostly the same, however, with a few upgrades. There are going to be, of course, we're going to have our classes every day now, which is very, very exciting for a performance class. You'd be surprised how much information we lose by having to work with the kids every other day. So to be able to see them every day is going to be a huge, huge advantage for us. So I will be excited for that. And Mr. Clipper has a few things to say about the band program and how that's going to change. There's a few things about that.
Hi, as she said, I'm Mr. Clipper. I'm the Counseling Band Director. It's a really exciting time for the LaPorte Music Department. If you enter the building through that door, you got a sneak peek at what will soon be the new Kessling Band Room. They're turning the old Kessling cafeteria, they're stripping it apart, turning it into the band room, which I'm very excited about. I'm sure my percussion students are excited about not moving large drums down the risers anymore, the current Kessling Band Room. The big differences for the Kessling Band program are, of course, that we have band every day, which both me and Mrs. Sullivan are really excited about. If your student is currently in band, I can tell you the next year our band class is going to have a lessened emphasis on practice charts. Me and Mrs. Sullivan have discussed eliminating them altogether and more of an emphasis on playing tests, because we're obviously going to see the kids every day. There'll be more of an opportunity to watch your kids grow and improve. I can tell you that for the band program, it's 2 concerts a year. There will now be 4 concerts a year, and I'm trying to think of the other thing, but it's not coming to mind, so that's okay. To all Kessling current students and parents, I told my students already, to the future 7th grade parents, I told my kids, if you currently like playing an instrument, you should strongly consider staying in band. If you do not, you obviously have a whole bunch of other wonderful choices. For future 8th grade students, I say 2 things. If you currently like playing your instrument, you should definitely consider staying in band, as well as if you have any interest in being in the high school band program, you should take 8th grade band, because there's a very strong possibility that if you choose not to, you will not be able to get into the high school class, because obviously